Hey, what's up guys? Coasters are Beast09 back here to do a video for you. Really quick, I know my last couple videos have been like cell phone camera type deal, and I know it's looked weird. I haven't been able to do anything about that. I was filming them on my front facing camera for the longest time. The speaker on the front face of the camera is like total shit now. It sounds awful, so I've been doing it just like normal facing, like the back camera. And until I figure something out, which I'm thinking about getting a new phone here very, very shortly. But until then, this is what I've had to do. So, I mean, I apologize for this, guys. I really do. It annoys the shit out of me, but it is what it is. So, I am here to do a ranking video, as I told you guys I was going to do, for the Conjuring Universe. Now, I only own 2 of the 4 movies that are out on Blu-ray, mainly because one of them I don't really care to own on Blu-ray. The other one, honestly, I don't know why I don't own the other one. I need to get on it there, but I wanted to do a quick ranking of the Conjuring Universe, in my opinion, after having seen The Nun last week, and give you guys what I think is the worst all the way to what I feel is the best film in this universe. And as we know, this universe is continuing to expand. We've got a Crooked Man spinoff film in the works. We've got a third Annabelle film, I believe starting filming, I want to say the end of this year, early next year. I know there's I was reading the story about it the other day, so I know that that's definitely in the works and will be out next October, I believe is the goal, or next September, around there. And then we obviously have a third Conjuring film in the works, which the script, I believe, is almost done, according to David Leslie Johnson, which is awesome because, in my opinion, the Conjuring movies in the Conjuring universe are the strongest movies. So, let's get into it. So, number 5, my least favorite movie in the Conjuring universe is Annabelle. Annabelle to me felt like a gimmicky cash grab after the success of The Conjuring. Clearly, it was. They didn't really flesh out that story well, I don't feel like. I feel like it was no motivation, random, which can be cool, but I feel like with these movies, there has to be ties. Like, there has to be some overarching point or story. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I just felt like the story for Annabelle was very... there were a lot of holes in the story, and I don't feel like it was very coherent. Also, not scary at all. The only part in that movie that freaked me out at all, and I will give it credit because it was a pretty damn freaky scene, when the mom is in the basement of, I believe, their apartment complex, and you see the shadow and it's following up the stairwell and stuff. I thought that was genuinely creepy, but aside from that, Annabelle to me, man, it's just it wasn't very scary at all. It didn't have a great story, and it really didn't drive forward the Conjuring universe at all, plot-wise. You know, most of these movies, the idea of them is to explain something you saw in another one of the movies, or give you an origin story to something you saw in another one of the movies, and, you know, so on and so forth. And I just felt like Annabelle, it just didn't do it, in my opinion. I don't think it's a very good movie. So, yeah, Annabelle's number 5 for me, guys. Honestly, I can't even remember much of it because I think I've seen it twice. I was very disappointed the first time I saw it, waited a while to see it the second time, and after I watched it the second time, I was like, yeah, I gave it another chance. Okay, number 4 is this year's The Nun. I don't think that this is going to shock many people that this is my number 4 in the Conjuring universe. And that's mainly just because, first let me say, these 4 movies after Annabelle, in my opinion, are good movies. The Nun is not a bad movie, but, you know, after Annabelle, they're all good movies, but you're comparing some great movies that came earlier in the franchise, and it's just, The Nun doesn't hold up to them, in my opinion. The Nun was very, like I said in my review, you guys can check it out. I'm not really going to give any spoilers away in this at all, actually. I'm just going to talk about my feelings on the movie. The Nun basically gives you, obviously, the origin story to Valak, and how, Valak came to be, and why Valak is after Lorraine Warren. Well, not really why, but how Valak started terrorizing Lorraine Warren, and just kind of an origin to Valak, the character of Valak. And, I liked the atmosphere. I loved the sound design. The cinematography was great, and some of the acting was really cool. However, way too reliant on cheap jump scares, some bad CGI in points, and again, just like Annabelle, not a very coherent story. It just didn't really mesh well for me. I felt like, and then the ending I feel like was just shoehorned in there to connect it to the Conjuring universe. It was already connected, but you know what I mean. I feel like the ending was kind of shoehorned in there. So really my main gripe with The Nun is it was nowhere near as scary as some of these other movies, and the story just was kind of there was a lot of moments in the movie where you're going like, why the fuck would that person do that? Why the fuck would this person go in there? Why the fuck won't this person do that? You know what I mean? It's just like there were times when you're watching it where you're just like, like you don't even know. You don't even know why certain things are happening the way they are. But again, I don't hate The Nun. I will buy it on Blu-ray. But it's just a so-so movie. It's alright. Number 3 for me is Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Creation was a huge step up, in my opinion, from Annabelle. I went and saw Annabelle Creation in theaters on opening night because I remembered reading the reviews leading up to the movie about how it was surprisingly good and it improved upon Annabelle, and I was really, really excited for that. I was really interested to see the route they were going to go with this, a true origin story of Annabelle. Because whereas Annabelle tried to be an origin story for The Conjuring, it fell flat on its face, and then I was like, okay, give me an origin to Annabelle before we just go right into The Conjuring. So I think Annabelle Creation should have been the first one, in my opinion, before Annabelle. But it is what it is. Annabelle Creation, I really liked the acting by the two little girls. For whatever reason, I can't remember their names. But I thought that they were very believable. Very much enjoyed watching their performances and their chemistry. The farmhouse was just like a really cool location. There are some great scenes in that movie when she's under the staircase. Scared the shit out of me in the theater. The whole thing with the orphan, not orphan, the foster parents' mom, and she's like in that bedroom, that whole mystique to her, the whole movie. Thought that was really cool. Just overall, man, Annabelle Creation, it really helped explain Annabelle and how not the doll, but the demon and how things unfolded very well. I think that it made sense. It was believable and it was coherent. Everything connected, and even leading up to the end where it connects to the first Annabelle. I mean, it was very seamless. It was great writing for that movie, Annabelle Creation. And genuinely scary. I remember seeing it in theaters and, being scared at some points. And I remember walking out and talking to my buddy, and I was like, that should have been the first Annabelle. That was a very good movie. I definitely enjoy Annabelle Creation. It improves upon everything that was wrong with Annabelle. Annabelle Creation does right. The story is coherent. It makes sense. The scares are there. The acting is there. Everything that wasn't in Annabelle is in Annabelle Creation. And then it's always cool to get an origin story when the origin story is something that people actually want and it makes sense. Don't force an origin story on us if we're like, well, we don't really fucking care about the origin of this character. We did care. We were told we were going to get it in the first Annabelle attempt, and we didn't. So it was very nice to see it actually come to fruition with Annabelle Creation. Very good movie. I actually just rewatched it again the other night and still very, very much enjoy that movie. Some definitely, some sweaty palm moments in that movie for sure. Okay, so these next two, you guys already know, it's the two Conjuring movies. Everybody's going to go, oh my God, like that's so obvious. But this isn't going to be that obvious. I want to say right now, before I talk about my number two, I think is the scariest movie in the Conjuring universe. I think it has the most genuinely frightening elements to it and moments where I was legitimately scared. And still, when I watch it, freaks me out. Watched it the other night, creeped me the fuck out, not gonna lie. So, my number 2 is The Conjuring. Everybody by now has seen this movie. I don't really have to get into it. But for me, James Wan, I mean, he knocked it out of the park with this movie. This movie is what every demon, possession type movie should be. Existential dread throughout the movie, like really, really just beating down these characters physically and emotionally. This slow burn, I'm gonna fuck with these characters a little bit. I'm gonna creep them out. Then I'm gonna start causing physical harm to them, and then I'm gonna take them over. That was just fantastic. The chemistry of the family, the acting. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are fantastic as Ed and Lorraine Warren. So believable, great chemistry on screen, and really, really, really help drive this movie forward. In my opinion, they're the leads in this movie. You could make a case for the Perron family. What's her name? I can't even remember the wife's name. But you could make a case for her. But it's really, really, really good. This movie is just very well made. I remember watching this in theaters. And I walked out and I legitimately said to my buddy and my girlfriend, I said, that was the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Girlfriend at the time, because this was years ago. And I remember legitimately being frightened by this movie at so many points. Moments where you don't want to hide your face because you're not a pussy, but you kind of I'm going to squint a little bit, kind of lean because I don't know what's going to happen right here. I mean, there are moments like that in this movie, and just the general, the cinematography, the score, the suspenseful, like I said at the beginning, the existential dread that's just always there. It's a cloud hanging over this movie. You never know when something's going to happen. The sound design is fantastic. The story is incredible. It's a great movie. The Conjuring is a 5 out of 5 movie. One of the greatest horror movies, scariest horror movies I have seen in my life. And I will always hold this very, very, very true, near and dear to my heart, because this is a very, very good movie. So, then you know what my number 1 is. And you might go, well, how is The Conjuring not your number 1 if you say that it's this, it's the scariest one in the universe? Well, because I feel like the most well-made one is The Conjuring 2. So number 1 for me is The Conjuring 2. I believe The Conjuring 2, in my opinion, is the best movie in the Conjuring universe. And just really quick, for me, it's more about The Conjuring is great. It really, really is. But it's also the general ideas we have seen before. We've seen a lot of those, the possession movies and stuff. Now, again, that's not a knock on The Conjuring, because as I said, it does it fantastically. Probably better than most movies. This added some new elements. First of all, I really, really, really enjoyed the play on, is the little girl lying? Is this all bullshit? And then, because at first, you're like, nah, she's not lying. We're seeing this happen. Then you're like, okay, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh shit balls. I mean, I thought it was really cool for the movie to kind of make you question things throughout it. You think you're sure, then you're not sure. Then you think you're sure, you're not sure. I really, really, really liked that. Also, I feel like the climax of this movie, the last 20, 25 minutes, brilliant. I mean, just brilliant. The way that everything is tied together, absolutely brilliant. The set pieces in this movie, I really, really liked them. Same thing with The Conjuring. Great set pieces. And then something that James Wan wasn't going to do at first, and then later, right before they were finished with the movie, adding in Valak, fantastic, because the scene with Lorraine Warren in her home with the painting of Valak and then the shadow, I mean, it's that scene stands out in my mind when I think about horror movies. That scared the shit out of me. Is this movie scarier than The Conjuring? No. But that's because it does use a lot of the same elements, of course, because they're both demonic possession movies. You kind of expect some things when it comes to the scares, but if we're talking about creep factor, genuinely chilling, Yes, it's absolutely here. This movie is still it's a very scary movie. But the reason it's number one for me is just because, like I said, I feel like it was just a much better made, not much better, but I feel like it's slightly better of a movie all around. Adding in, a few different elements you don't normally see in these demonic possession paranormal movies. I think the story is a little better. There's more to it. It's a meatier story. It's longer, so you have more time to kind of flesh these things out. And nothing feels like it was thrown in there and it wasn't fleshed out, and then you're left going, but what the fuck? Like, no, none of that is in this movie. Everything is fleshed out really well. The acting is great. I just feel, and then Ed and Lorraine Warren again. And I also love how they tied like 3 stories into one almost, where you have the Amityville horror haunting at the first portion of the movie, the very beginning. Then you have the Hodgkins family and that they're dealing with, but then you also have Valak and Lorraine, and she's dealing with that. I feel like all 3 of those plot points and how they all came together at the very end of the movie, and it all made sense. Like, it wasn't like, nah, that's stupid. Like, it all made sense. It all came together. It was very cohesive. Brilliant. I mean, it was brilliant. James Wan, in my opinion, somehow made a better movie than The Conjuring. And I didn't think that was going to be possible. It's not as scary. But I will say, it is scary. It's still a very scary movie. It's very unsettling, very chilling. If you've seen this movie, I remember in the theater, this is my house. Bill Wilkins? Yeah, Bill Wilkins. He says, this is my house. You know the scene if you've seen the movie. Scared the shit out of me in the theater. So yeah, some genuinely frightening parts in this movie. So it's still a scary movie, but I just feel like overall there was a little bit more there. There was more substance. I feel like it was just a little more fleshed out. I enjoyed this movie a little bit better. So yeah, I'm going to go with The Conjuring 2 as my number 1. So that's my ranking of the Conjuring Universe, guys. Sorry about some of the rambling. I'm obviously a horror fan, and, when I find a franchise that I'm very passionate about, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm going to ramble. So, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. It means a lot to me. I'm very, very excited for The Conjuring 3, first and foremost. I know Annabelle 3 will be out before that, probably right before that, but I'm most excited for The Conjuring 3 because these 2 are my favorite in the universe. I feel like, the Ed and Lorraine storyline is really what I want to see most of. So I'm excited to see a third one. I want this trilogy. I really, really do. And these are 2 of the best theater experiences I've ever had, The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. So I'm very excited to see a third one and where they go with it. But yeah, guys, overall, I think it's a very solid universe, and it's got a ton of places to go, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, so brace yourselves, because we've got a full-on horror universe on our hands, and it's great. So yeah, again, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. We're a week away from October. My goal is to do like 2 to 3 videos a week in October. I want suggestions, guys. Put them down in the comments for me, please. Let me know some movies you want me to review, or some franchises you want me to go over, or just things you want me to talk about. Put them down in the comments below for October. I'm going to try to do a whole segment for October and, see what it is you guys want to see most of. I'm taking any and all suggestions. It means the world to me when you guys reach out to me and let me know these things. So please comment. Please, like the video. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see, guys. Again, thanks so much for coming on here. And I will be back. So, Coastal Star Beast 09 signing off.